At some point, after enough pain, enough patterns, enough sitting across from someone and realizing you've been here before, you make a decision. You decide to be intentional.
UVettd is built for that moment.
After a long marriage that slowly came apart, the warmth went first, and then the conversations, then the certainty that we were building something together left. I found myself starting over. And I kept making the same mistakes. I moved too fast. I ignored the signals. Got 3 months in and I realized I was sitting across from a version of a person I'd already been with. I stayed 7 more years before it was clear I deserved better. So I got intentional. I looked around my community, the people I knew, the people I was meeting, the ladies bold and hopeful enough to profile themselves on dating apps. I took notes on about 50 people that I was interested in. I invited 13 of them to actually meet. 9 actually showed up. I went deep with 6. And in the end, it came down to 3 people whose values and patterns scored high enough to deserve a real investment of time. 2 of them scored 8.5 points or higher on a 10-point scale. 1 scored highest on everything, and that mattered to me. Mutuality, presence, consistency. That was Rebecca. When I started journaling about each person, morning and evening, every day that I had an interaction, something shifted. I wasn't evaluating anymore. I was noticing from a settled place instead of an anxious one.
I lost my husband to cancer, and the grief that followed, that's its own kind of silence. And when you finally start looking again, you're carrying everything that you learned from that love. I didn't want to get it wrong. I didn't want to rush, but I also didn't want to be so cautious that I would never let anyone in.
We were actually both using AI tools separately, not knowing each other yet, to think through what we were seeing, to journal about dates, to ask the hard questions. Is this pattern I'm recognizing real, or am I projecting? Does this person actually share my values, or am I hoping they do? What am I not letting myself see?
The AI helped me see clearly. It held what I told it. It connected the dots that I couldn't hold in my head across 3 weeks of dates and hope and uncertainty.
We were both building the same thing, independently. Scoreboards, curated research, frameworks to understand ourselves, and then the people we were meeting. And then we found each other.
UVettd is what we formalized from those tools. The camera method, which are 6 dimensions that measure what actually matters in a relationship. Not chemistry, not attraction, the behavioral patterns that predict whether someone will be safe and consistent and real.
But first, you define your values, your non-negotiables, what we call never-agains, what you've learned from your past. Then as you date, you tell UVettd what you're observing. It scores every person against what actually matters to you.
It catches what you're too close to see, and it will remind you of your boundaries when chemistry is trying to override your judgment. What we wanted, what we were both looking for, was the feeling of sitting across from someone and knowing. Not hoping, not convincing yourself, but knowing.
Calm, clear, peaceful knowing. That's what UVettd's journaling and intelligent coaching is for.
And that feeling, when it comes, it's worth every entry you wrote to get there. If someone you know needs to hear this, send this to them. UVettd might be the help they've been hoping for.